Good afternoon. From all, we would like to pay respect to our chief, Mr. Somara, Mr. Pisaret, and Mr. Soravi, and also the audience who are present in here. Yeah. Today we feel great that we can stand here to do a presentation about our practicum for the development. So, myself, I will introduce the first part, the first one, the introduction.
My name is Heyman. I will present you about lesson point.
My name is Suratha. I will present you about classroom management.
My name is Liang. I respond on in methodology. My name is Farisa. I respond on conclusion.
Yes. So, please welcome to my first one, introduction. English is a useful language. It's a useful language that we use it to communicate, to find a good job, to research something new, and also travel around the world. And in TEFL, our school program of English that study 5 main subjects. The first one is applied linguistics. The second one is teaching methodology. The third, foundational education. The fourth is translation and interpreting. And the last one, or fifth, is research methodology. So, allow me my slide. Just go to the next one. Here, applied linguistics. Before I explain you the full word of applied linguistics, I want to separate into two parts. Two parts first. The one applied, and the second one is linguistic. Applied means be used to teach, to speak, learn, or practice. The linguistic means scientific study of the languages. And the applied linguistic is the process of learning origin of the language, including nature, structure, sound of the language meaning, the human language, morphology, grammar, and etc. In additionally, to this. And the second one, the teaching methodology. Teaching methodology is a method of the teacher used to teach and control the student in the class. Especially the strategy that teacher wants the student to pass the knowledge information from him. Like in our school subject, they learn how to prepare the lesson plan, how to control the classroom, and also the way we use the material. Yes. So, moreover, the third, foundational education. Foundational education is the process that we learn probably about educational subject, academic of education, the history, the sociology, philosophy. We can say that about the education system, and they have 3 forms of the education. Like we know, the first is informal, second is formal, and the third is non-formal. The informal education is we learn it or we got it from the school, institute, or university that have the clear structure, curriculum of it, and at the end of the word or the degree, we can get a certificate. And the second one is the informal. We get it or we learn it follow from the one generation to another generation, and also we learn it from the community or the group that we learn. And the non-formal, that means the outside of the formal one, don't have the clear structure. It can be we have a group meeting, discuss, training, it's like that. So let's allow me to the translation and interpreting. The translation is the way we process of changing the written message from the source or from the first to the target or the second language. And interpreting is the way we changing the spoken message from the source or first or target or the second language. So additionally, move to the next one. The research methodology. Research methodology is mean the method one method that we use to search something new, to get a tool, the reference, the way to collecting the data, data analysis, can be research question, literature review, and so on. And the next one come out the type of data. Type of data has two. One is primary data. Primary data is the data that we can get it from the research question. You can say the questionnaire, the interview, observation, or can be all research. And secondary data is the data that we can get it from the library, book, magazine, newspaper, other stuff that we get from other report. So at the last point of me is teaching practicum objective. Like you know, is very important when we learn about something like theory or we got the knowledge from teacher. So we need to practice. So in the objective of the teaching practicum, they mean to practice what we have learned in the real practice. And also it can develop each trainee have a more confident experiences in teaching, good communication, good cooperation, can be a good group work. So that's all of my point. Let's move to my friend, Mr. Hayvatana, please. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to great respect to committees like lecturer Somara, lecturer Pisalet, and lecturer Suravi, and especially great respect to my supervisor, lecturer Somara. And now, this point, I would like to responsibility on my point is lesson plan. What is lesson plan? Lesson plan is the small lesson that summarize the whole of the lesson or instruction for the student in textbook before the teacher going to teach their student. And why the lesson plan is important? As you know already, the lesson is the guide, is a roadmap, and say is a main part for the student or especially for teacher to teach the student more effectively. And especially the lesson plan is fashionable for the student to easily understand about what the teacher teach. And the teacher can conduct the lesson plan in other list. And the lesson plan has two kinds. The first kind is PPL or PPP. And the second is PLS or PLL. What is different between PPP and PLS? The first, I would like to tell all of you about the PP or PPL meaning. The PP or PPL, the stand for presentation, practice, production, or PPL, presentation, practice, lesson. And it applies or to introduce the new vocabularies and grammars or pronunciation. And in contrast of PLS or PLL. Because the PLS or PLL it applies for macro skills such as reading, listening, and speaking or writing skill. Yes. And the PPL is divided 5 states, or PLS divided 6 states. The first of PPL or PPL state, the first is lesson opener. The second, warm up. The third, presentation. The fourth, practice, and the last point, lesson closer or conclusion. And it's different from PP or PLS or PLL. the first and second is the same as PPL. And the third, pre-task, the fourth, main task, the fifth, post-task, and the sixth, lesson closer. And many points in PPL is referred to. The first one, lesson plan, lesson opener, refer to the teachers will to say hello, good morning, and say good afternoon to their student, and then check attendance of the student and check the date. The second is warm up review. Warm up, the teacher will teach their student in previous lesson, teach their student in previous lesson, and then to review the previous lesson to their student. And the third, presentation stage. The presentation stage is the purpose of the teacher will tell the objective to the student. They will to learn today. Yeah. And in the same, I can say it is a production stage. And the fourth, practice stage. Practice stage require to the teacher will practice or let their students work in pair or do exercise with their group. Yes, and the last, the fifth of the PPL stage is lesson closer. The teacher will review or summarize all the whole lesson and say to their student, try to study hard or don't forget to do homework. Yes, and in contrast of PPL or PP stage is P or S or P or S stage, and divide 6 stages. The first and the second, as I told you already, is the same as PPL. So the third, pre-task, refer to the teacher will teach the student, give their student the instruction or teach the student that related to the lesson. And the fourth, the main task. The main task refer to the teachers will responsibility to let he or she student will work in pair or work in exercise. Yeah, that related to the skill. Example, they will to choose one skill of 4 macro skill. Writing, listening, speaking skill to teach their student. And fifth, post task is the same as the main task, but the student will teach their student to another skill, to change from reading to writing skill. Yeah. The lesson closer is the same as PP and or PPL stage. Now, this point is that's also next point. So this point is talk about before, during, and after the teacher teaching. Before teaching, requirement to teacher, how do they do? The first is they will set the lesson plan. The second is do research. After do research already, and the teacher will prepare about all the activity that they have done after do research and set the lesson plan. The fourth is set the material. This point is very important for the teacher because material or something that the teacher must to have, because it makes a teacher and make us a trainee more professionally. Next is during teaching. During teaching, require to teacher have to uniform preparing. This point is very important for the teacher and for the trainee because uniform to show that the teacher and the trainee have a professional of teaching. The second is time management. The time management is the main point that teacher have to do and the teacher have to complete it, because time management will show the teacher to allow the regulation of the school or the thing that they have to do or not. The third is classroom management. The classroom management is the next point of time management. The classroom management will be about to show the teacher, the trainee have the good behavior when they were teachers. The fourth is following the lesson plan. After we set lesson plan from before teaching, we know already that the lesson plan that the teacher have the set, they will respond from one step to one step, enough or not. Yeah, this is very important. So after teaching, before, during teaching already, after teaching, the teacher or the trainee have to check the student understanding well or not. Because when they teach a student, they use other skill like macro skill, teaching listening skill. So to check that their student understanding about writing or not, understand about listening skill or not. And the fourth assessment the student. This is equal that the student, the teacher will to evaluate the student have to understand the lesson or not in the same, can say in the same, the first point. The third, the last and but not least, the check all the steps, lesson plan step. It means that the teacher must to check they allow from one step, two step to another step, enough or not. So this is very important for the teacher and for all training have to know and have to do. So that's all on my point. And then I give a chance to my Mr. Rotan.
Thank you, my teams. Now I would like to respectful to judges, Miss Somara and lecturer Saudat, and the last lecturer Sorawi, and especially respectful to my supervisor, Miss Somara. And now my responsibility is a classroom management. I will tell you about what is the classroom management. Classroom management refers to the managing or routing or procedure to make teacher start learning more effectively in the class and can complete finish lesson better. Especially classroom management make sure the lesson runs smoothly in teacher teachings. And one more thing, why classroom management is important to the teacher. I will tell you or describe to you about classroom management, the importance of classroom management for the teacher. The first one, I reckon that classroom management is very important in the class. In teaching technique, set set classroom rule, school discipline, or other techniques. And then I would like to go on about good points. So good point using whiteboard. So as well as teacher should use whiteboard, like draw 2 parts or 6 parts, depend on teacher need to write the lesson on the board. And then chair arrangement, we could prepare the chair or go through line and work in groups, work in front of each other. And the third is while preparations, tools and material. In materials, there are many materials for teacher to use in the class, like LCD projector, textbook, coursebook, handout or worksheet, and audios or transcript, something like that. And the next slide. Point number 2, point to be improved in the classroom management. Teacher should setting the rules before we starting the class. Teacher always set the rules. No likes, no using smartphone, no talk to, no talks, discuss different from the lesson, and then controlling your voice or idea. When we talk about this point, teacher should use a simple word, simple language in the class to make students understand about the lesson. And after giving more clear instruction, before we go or start the new lesson, teacher should read first and then explain to the student, and after lead them to read again and again until they understand about the lesson. And the next point, creating an activity to make the classroom management is better. Teacher always puts topic to do research, something that related to the lesson, like peer work, do exercise, give a handout to the student to make more better in the class. And the next point, encouraging the student. This point, teacher should making their lesson more interesting for the student to attract the student to study hard more effectively and understanding clearly the lesson. And the last, developing techniques. There are many techniques in teaching. We can use teacher-centered approach or student-centered approach, depend on teacher want to teach. And the last point of my responsible resolution of the problem. In here, first, time management. Teacher can come early before student arrives to school. It is school discipline. And when we talk in the class, speaking clearly, as the same I told you before, and give more instruction as the same in point 2 also. And controlling ideas, controlling your voice, like I told you already, and I want to add more idea in this point. It means that teachers should motivate students to learn a study hard about the lesson or making their lesson more interesting, the lesson, and encourage them to work or discuss about something that related to their lesson. And a lot of my ideas is teacher should tell the way how to speak, the way how to do in study more effectively in the class. So my point is that's all. Now I would like to give the floor to my team, Miss Song Sian, to contribute the
presentation. First of all, I would like to respect to our professor and present in here. For me, I will present you the methodology. What is methodology mean? Methodology means the way of teaching that made student understanding and to transfer the knowledge to the student. There are two types of students. There are two types of methodology. The first one is student-centered approach, and the second one is teacher-centered approach. What is student-centered approach mean? Student-centered approach means the way of teaching that the student have more activity involved teaching, and while the teacher just a facilitator for the student rather than presenter of information. And there are three principles of student-centered approach. The first one is group work, and the second one is peer work, and for the third one is presentation. For the group work, is the best way of the student-centered approach because group work can make the student understanding each other, can share experience, idea and information to each other. And for the peer work, also important as the group work because peer work it can make the student can learn each other and share idea, information and education. for each other. And for the last one is presentation. Presentation is the correct way that made student have the practice all the language systems such as listening, speaking, writing, vocabulary, and grammar. For teacher-centered approach, what is teacher-centered approach mean? Teacher-centered approach means the way of teaching that teacher have to make more activity involved in the teaching, and while the student is just passive and receptive. And there are three principles of teacher-centered approach. The first one is explanation student. The second one is ask the student question, and the last one is controlling the student. Explanation the student means the teacher has to use their education, their information, and their idea to explain the student to make the student clearly understanding. And for the second one, ask the student question. Ask the student question means the teacher has to create the question by research internet or read the book to have more information. And for the last one is control the student. Control the student is the correct way that make the student good behavior. For teaching Khmer, we use two methods to teaching Khmer. The first one is inductive approach, and the second one is deductive approach. What is deductive approach? Deductive approach is referred to the teacher teach the lesson to the student from general to specific. And for deductive approach means refer to the teacher take the lesson to the student from the specific to general. That's all for my part. Let's move to Minister.
Good afternoon, dear judge and respected lecturers and our team. And now my name is Farida, and my point about conclusions. As we know that in year 4 our school program we have 5 subjects to learn, such as applied logistics that focus on the process of the learning language. And we can point about the teaching methodology is the subject that focus on the technique the teacher use, how to use to prepare the plan and control the student. And the third, talk about the production of education. This lesson is referred to to learn about the system of education and general knowledge. And the fourth, talk about the translation and interpreting. This point talk about the translation is referred to the changing with the writing from the soft language to the hand language, and interpreting refer to the changing from the conversation of the soft language to hand language. And fifth, talk about the research methodology. Research methodology refer to the subject that focus the researching for the teacher find to other technique to develop their teaching, and the object to apply what we have to learn into the real practice and develop the training more confident and experience in the real teaching, and a good cooperate and make them good communicate with other teams. Move to the next slide. And the 5.2 talk about the lesson plan. The lesson plans is, as we know that the lesson plans is the way the teacher or the student need to learn, or the teacher need to do during in the real teaching in the class. And lesson plan have two kinds, such as PPPL and POL. And also the step of lesson plan have before class, during class, and after class. And the point about 5.3 talk about the classroom management. As we know that the classroom management is the way the teacher describe about the process of classroom running smoothly, lesson running smoothly, and classroom management have to make us to how to control the student and how to make the student understand clearly about the lesson and control the teaching material and prepare the lesson plan. About the 5.4 talk about the methodology. Methodology, as we know, the methodology is the findings of teaching, or we can say the methodology or reciting is the finding of problem statement. And we use methodology to two kinds as teacher-centered and student-centered approach. And also we have other steps as like inductive and executive. Move to the next slide. For suggestions and recommendations, we are thankful and really appreciate the school let us to do presentation, and we suggestion to school to give us a group training more time to do practice, teaching practice, and keep this program of Practicum to next generation. Thank you.
A great presentation. How do you feel now?
Yeah, it's still
It's still great, or it's just something else? Is it?
bit level and upper.
Okay, compared to your teaching and right now, which one is better?
It can say that this is maybe better than.
Better than. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, I just prolong the question in order to let you feel better before I go to my question.
Yeah.
Okay, can you clarify with us the objectives of the teaching practicum? So, what are they? Anybody here?
The attitude for practicum teaching, the objective of practicum teaching to improve a trainee to be confident when he was when we start the job as a teacher, and then objective of practicum to make a trainee have a good or great communication with another member in group, or to improve their or development their ability for the new experience when they complete the practicum teaching. Thank you.
Thank you. And then you want to?
For me, I want to add more like I got the experience from it, so to do the practicum, yeah, to prepare for myself, and also getting the know how to do the proper or cooperation with others, and also I can discuss, learn something new from my team, and also I can discuss it and do the practicum. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, in my opinion, the objectives of practicum to make more, to train more the trainee confidence to develop themselves, and they know how to communicate with the student or another people.
For me, I think objective of Practicum it is make the trainee have experience on teaching and make the trainee know how to make the lesson plan and provide the trainee teaching as a real practice.
For me, for these questions, I think after this practicum, I know clearly how to prepare well lesson plans and teaching material, and I know and I don't understand how to control the student and classroom management, and also arrange the time during teaching.
Okay, good, thank you. You know why I asked this question? Since I have noticed that the objective of the teaching practicum on your slide and in your book you have written are different, and your answers are different as well. So what are they exactly? Okay, so go back and check that thing. And the other part, okay, how we can say like being a teacher, you normally plan a lesson to go and teach, right? And how do you know your lesson has been achieved? So how?
Understood the question?
Okay.
The way to know how to know that we complete or we follow the step of the lesson plan is the one that what we said and what we made the plan is, they can say that similar to what we see, not in the situation or sometimes the condition is difficult from what we see. It also is not well, but if we prepare it well and also be flexible about what our the real classroom setting, real classroom during our teaching, the way to control the student, the way to explain student, also sharing something idea, and also we can apply technique like student center or teacher center, or can say we can ask or we can review some lesson that it to make them easy to get what we mean, or we can say easy to understand the objective of we are, and also we can just the way that critical thinking. So like during the classroom, so we can apply it all on our case. Teacher, thank you.
Okay. Other want to add?
For me, I choose as well, and I choose 2 marks from practical teaching. The first achievement and the great achievement is I know how to teach a student. Depend on the methodology of teaching. So we know already. I know as well about teacher center approach or student center approach. Or I can know as well about when I want to teach the student about grammar method. I want to type of the grammar method such as deductive approach or inductive approach as well. It is the first great achievement for me. And another achievement on the knowledge as well from teaching practicum, such as set the lesson plan, the type of lesson plan, how to manage the class, how to preparing the classes. It is a achievement or something like achieve a lot of the knowledge and more confident, more new experience for me. Thank you, teacher.
Yes, for me to be achieve the lesson, the practicum. You mean achieve practicum, right?
Okay, we can say like in general, we can say as a teacher, how can you know your lesson? Okay, what you have planned,
Yes.
it has been achieved.
Yeah, for me, the first I read the textbook and then I set the plan, lesson plan, and check all assessment, and I develop myself and get more experience and can understand about how to write lesson plan, how to teach the student, how to manage the classroom, and there are many techniques like student center or teacher center, and in teaching grammar method we can use inductive or deductive as well.
For me, when I know my teaching is success when the student know clearly about my lesson and understanding my lesson, and I can control the student.
For me, after I come to Practicum, I really achieve from this teaching practice as like how to prepare well for myself before to be a teacher, and I know clearly how to do well prepare lesson plan and how to create the technique to teach the student and make me confident and
That's all. Thank you. So, you tell us that whatever you plan, if you know more technique, your lesson will be achieved. Yes? Okay, so it's not yet what I need, but I hope that you just find out the answer for this one. Okay, or maybe your supervisor can help you at the end. To move to one more thing about lesson plan, the same. So, how can you set the effective lesson objective?
Thank you for the question. The question is asked about how to set the lesson more effectively. So
The objective.
So the first requires all of you, as a trainer, know clearly about the type of the state of the lesson plan type. Like to know about PP or PPL, or example it's different something, or it's different like from P or S or P or L. You know to clearly about that, and that to know about the state of PP state, how many of state of PPL and how many state of P or S state. Yeah.
I think more about your question. To write an objectives, we need to know about types of lesson, and then you can know it is PRS or PRS, and then you can set the objective. Like in PPL, the objective to introduce new word, and PRS we can say to practice macro skill like reading, listening, speaking, and grammar.
Is it that? Is it the objective or the aim on the lesson? What you mentioned earlier?
I mentioned objective.
Are you sure?
Yeah, but one more thing is types of lesson.
Okay. Okay, thank you. The other one?
As my friend mentioned, how to we set the objective. Set objective when we know the objective, what type of objective. So we can set the objective like PPL and PP
Okay, thank you. Maybe. Okay, I am not sure whether it really true that the lesson objective will be changed based on the lesson plan type, or it just have any specific thing that you can do in here. So maybe you can find out more. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the first one, like I said, show up lesson plan.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we teach, we need to know that we know already that about the topic or the lesson that we prepare to the student, and also we want to share or to complete the student need, and also the objective of us when after we teach, so student will be able to get what. So it's the main objective that we need to see, and also the time. With the time allow for us, so how we can put that what we want to the student to understand how 1, 2, 3 of point, and also the we can say the that's all.
Okay, good. Thank you. So it's just like A, B, C, D. Sometimes we can say. Okay, so just like that. But just go and find out. I try not to explain you here. Yeah. But what are the things that you have answered? It's just some part of that. But it just cannot answer to the lesson objective in here. So maybe Mr. Vic can help you after that. Okay. I have noticed that the lesson objective in your lesson plan that I have gone through it. Okay, are different. So, how many lesson objective should be appropriate for 40 minutes or 60 minutes in here?
For me, I think 2 or 3 objectives. That is the goal point. Yeah. Or sometimes we like let's say any time about what we can add to 4. Yeah.
Okay.
For me, I think like that we have to choose 2 or 3, and if we have enough time or we have not enough time, the teacher must have flexibility with the time, for teaching their student more effectively and be good at time management.
Yes, for me, objective we need at least 2. But if we have 3, I think I reckon that it is enough in teaching. Yes.
Okay.
For me, I think that's 2, more than 2, and because we have a little bit time to teaching, so we have 2 or 3.
For me, I think the objective is 2 or 3 because it depends on the time management.
Okay, good. Thank you. So as I noticed, okay, some of you have 3, some of you have 5 objectives. So how can you complete your objective just only 45 minutes in here? So the more objective you set, the more time you spend, and it will kill you based on that part. Right? So, and some part, as I noticed, you can say like maybe you can precise it. Maybe all of your 4 objective or 5 objective can be combined into only 1 or 2 objective. It's just specifically to be achieved. Sometimes when you list down, it's fine. You can just list down, but they will ask you, okay, how can you achieve it? Whether it is achieved or not in here. So this question also linked to my previous question. How can you know your lesson achieved? So your lesson will be achieved based on your lesson objective there. But you still need the assessment to assess based on your lesson objective. But you need to use those things. You cannot plan. You can say sometimes the teacher just expect the student can learn, but actually they did not learn along the way. So how can you assess? It can be through questions, through quiz, through practice exercise, for example, right?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay, so I give you answer, and the other part regarding to the classroom management, maybe nearly the last of my question. So, what are the most difficulty in classroom management that you face?
Yeah, in my experience, find that like a student talkative in the class, student cheating, and they don't care about their lesson, and they busy to like use smartphone in the class, and especially some students they walk around in the class. This is I focus to a low level because I have experience like this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we difficult for the most difficulty for classroom management is as my group already, but I add more some point. When the student, for me, my experience for the student don't to have when they start the class, come late in the class, and is to monitor them, and also they talk to you in the class, or sometimes the student no listen to the teacher, and so the teacher and other trainee should have or should regulation or rule in the class for manage them.
Okay, thank you. I will just go only this one, and I will link to the other question.
Okay.
So, as you have noticed that the student is messy or clumsy in the class, and how can you just stop them from doing that one, and avoiding them from being shamed or ashamed within the class, or feel upset regarding to your interrupt them, okay, or the way that you stop them from doing that one. Okay, you stop them and make sure that not make them feel bad in the class in here.
Feel ashamed in the class.
Yeah. So how?
Feel embarrassed in the class.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way that we interrupt, but not make them feel unhappy for us. I think we provide or we use any technique that connect to the way we teaching. Like when we present about micro skill, speaking, writing or listening. Like about we can build some homework and down, or some homework or task here, or we can make them doing the paperwork or work to discuss something. We can build them to read the book here or the article. Or sometimes we can use the fun technique, or the way we use to the lower board, or the way we like play game, or to make them fun and enjoy what we want them to know. Yeah, like play game or the spelling word, about we write the word and also need them to guess it or at least picture.
For me actually, and logical, the student will be upset and have when the teacher seriously with them. But for me, if they have a strategy for manage them and to force them by they are happy or they are nothing or no feeling upset. So the teacher the strategy must to talk with them with the show them of love and show them of the benefit of the study, and then to compensation there to example to give them to play game or give them to I can say give them or a score, something like that. Thank you.
Yes, for me, if we face these problems, in my experience, I always like select them to ask and make the lesson more interesting to them, and play game or sing a song in the class. Yes.
For me, if my student make message in the class or chatting in the class, I just give them to do exercise so they know how to chatting or to message in the class.
For me, if the student make noisy in the class, I will call them and assign them to stand up and read the book or play the game of knowledge or of exercise, or make them learn by team or partner.
That's all. Good, thank you. So, since the time is nearly 60 right now, so I better not go on. And let Mr. Move to the other judge that they will ask you more. Okay, and I also gone through your work, and I will give you back after this. You can get it and make it to be consistent, especially about the date, right? So there are 3 or 4 different style of writing, so make it to be only one style of writing. Thank you. So
Okay, thanks for the head of committee and also supervisor and other lecturer and other audience here, right? Okay. So, as the head of committee mentioned, we do not have much time to ask, so I have one question to ask you, right? That is the last question. Okay, so according to your approach of teaching that you did in the teaching practicum, so what kind of method did you apply to teach your student while teaching practicum?
For me, surely one.
Yeah, okay.
For me, I choose the student-centered approach of myself. So the way I choose like this,
Yeah, okay.
because can I say it wrong?
Yeah, yeah.
The way I choose like this is because it has many benefits to the student to have the critical thinking in their own thinking, and also they can try study hard more, can research something more, because like in 21st century, if one of the useful approach of myself is a student-centered approach, and also that we need the student need to work hard, to have thinking, to active more than teacher, and also they can have the good communication in the class. Yeah, they can say that have the well organized about themselves, know about the rule of the class. Yeah, like I mean the teacher only guide them, and also they know what is the position or obligation as a student or as a learner. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, for me, I will choose teacher-centered approach.
Okay, could you tell the reason?
Yeah. Because why I chose the teacher-centered approach, because of I know I want to share my knowledge to them, and I think that or I consider that I share knowledge to them. It is more effectively by them study by their himself or herself, and sometimes I want to show that he will have the strong leader, the teachers for guide them, and sometimes when they have no clearly about their lesson, about their can say that natural knowledge, the student can understand that. So I want to show them I am have a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge to share to them, but I do not like to force them, but I want to choose the teacher-centered approach. Thank you.
Yes, for me, during teaching practicum, I choose a teacher-centered approach. I want to, I give instruction and ask them and explain and need them to do exercise. Depend on the lesson like reading, writing, or listening, or other exercise that related to the lesson. Thank you.
For me, when I make the practicum, I choose student-centered approach because student-centered approach is very important for students to give them chance to make something new and to make them to do research.
For me, I choose student approach, center approach, because I think nowadays our students need to develop their knowledge, so we should assign them to do more research by themselves to develop their knowledge, and it can create new technique for them to learn fastly.
That's all. Okay, so thank you for your answer, right? Yes, that's all from my
Your
side.
overall comment.
Overall comment, right? Okay. Okay, so thank you for your answer again, and then okay. After observing carefully, okay, I have some comments for the whole group, okay, which you did in the teaching, the presentation. Okay, so please, the first one, the candidate, okay, like all of you should have had sound flow while speaking, okay? Yes. And the second one, you shouldn't have kept your eyes on the slide, okay? You should cut down. So, one more thing, you should stay your, we can say, eye contact, okay, while you are presenting, okay? Next one, you should pronounce clearer than this, because some of you might pronounce wrong or wrongly, right? Last but not least, you should keep the level of confidence, okay? Because I think a few of you, right, still have the level of confidence, right? Okay, that's all from my side. Thank you.
Okay, so actually we do appreciate your work, and we hope that you will try to find out more. But what I worried, we can say many people and teachers just keep talking about student-centered approach, teacher-centered approach, but what are they exactly to find out it? Okay, and what we want you to find out more, how to assess the lesson, and as well as the how to set the effective lesson attitude. So those things that you need to find out more. If you really want to be the teacher, the lesson attitude is everything for those parts, right? You cannot go to the class without or with the not really clear attitude in here. All right. So next we just give you a chance to get the idea from your big man.
Thank you, committee, head of committee and observer, and notice lecturer here. I hope you are feeling better now, right? Okay. So thanks so much for your comment from the judge. The comment from the judge is a good roadmap that can help you, yes, to change some point that can make you feel better and improve about your point, and you can learn from this point. Okay, those points that you gotten from the committee to be better in the future with your career. Even today, you are not a teacher, but I hope teacher can be a part of your life. Even you don't want to be a teacher in the class, but you are a teacher of your children. Okay? Okay, so that's all with my point, and I hope you can take the comment from the committee and book to check it and follow. Yes, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.